and welcome to the second iStart Lunchbox. People streaming in the door. Good to see some early arrivals. I guess the usual people will be skipping my boring introduction and waiting for the good stuff later on. So yes, this is the Be More Productive webinar for the Lunchbox series and focused in on training around the Microsoft Office suite. And our sponsors, as usual, Citrix, go to assist helping us out. My name is Hayden McCall, and let me just get these pages flicking through. What's going on at the moment? I am General Manager of iStart. So I guess you're familiar with iStart because we probably send you e-newsletters every week. So today's session will be fully recorded, so no need to scramble down notes as Michael is screaming through lots of instructions on the screen. You will be able to get a recording. We'll email that out to everyone. We do want to have an interactive session, so we want to have you raising questions and we'll try as best as we can to get those questions answered. We've got over 100 coming in now, so there'll probably be a number of questions. We may not get to all of them, but we'll try to do that. So just to familiarise yourselves with doing that, if you see the instructions there, the pane that you've got on your screen, you can raise questions within that questions pane. And once we get into the Q&A session at the end, if you like, we can have you raise your hand and we can pass the mic over to you and you can ask your question live. If you please just at the moment, just to try that out, start getting some questions coming in. Focus in on things that you really find painful, that chew up a lot of time when you're using your PC, be it in Outlook or other activities, where you find the real time wasters, things that you find frustrating, things that Michael can help you out with that you would like to see him cover off. So if you start doing that, sending some questions in now, that would be brilliant. So introducing Michael. Michael Bignott is the specialist within the ACE training team who works on the Microsoft Office suite, and he's been doing that for over 7 years. So he knows his way around Microsoft, and I'm hoping that he'll be able to provide lots of tips that you can take away today and start to use immediately in your own work situation. G'day, Michael.
G'day, how are you doing?
Very well, very well. Looking forward to getting into the session. Just before we do that, just a reminder that your attendance today does qualify you for the free subway. We'll send that out. I'll cover off exactly how that works at the end of the session. But a big thanks to ACE Training and to you, Michael, for stumping up today and also for sponsoring that lunch offer. For those of you who don't know ACE, and there probably are not many, ACE has been around for a while, but they are the largest independent provider of training within New Zealand across a number of different suites and applications. And also just a reminder as you exit that there will be an exit survey, so I appreciate if you can fill that in as you head out the door. All right, so without further ado, I will pass across to Michael. Let me just do that. Bear with us as we change presenter across. So I'll show Michael's screen and he'll be giving you a live demonstration. So Michael, I'll just hand over to you now.
Okay. There we go. It's all good. Yep, does that look good?
Yep, you're on the PowerPoint presentation there, Michael, with the OneNote up alongside.
There we go. Good afternoon and welcome everybody. My name is Michael, and for the next 40 minutes or so, we get to play with Outlook. Now, you may notice from my screen that I am in Outlook 2010. So we'll be focusing on some of the really cool things that we can be doing here. I'm just moving this little toolbar that it's out the way. Now, the question that everybody asks is, well, what is Outlook? And other than the thing that actually rules our life, Microsoft consider Outlook to be a personal information management system. The nice thing that Microsoft did in the Office 2010 suite is finally make the actual window consistent amongst all the Office products. It's now called the Fluent User Interface, and I'm going to just quickly go over some of the more important parts, some of the words I'm going to be using, and some of the areas that we can actually start using, not only in Outlook and Word and Excel and PowerPoint and all the others too, to make our lives a little bit easier. All right. If you're using Outlook 2007, you will notice that they have reintroduced the file menu. And when I click on that, I technically am entering an area called the backstage. I'll come back in a moment because what I'd like to do is just show you some of the cool new little things that they actually do. Now, across the top of our screen in all our Office products, the little area that I'm indicating now is called the ribbon. On our ribbon, the first important area is our quick access toolbar. Or just above the little file menu is the quick access toolbar. The nice thing about this is, as the word says, if you click on the little drop down to the far right, you should add things that you need to quickly access every single day. What I'm going to do today is not sound like an admin ad, but just for once, if we look at the bottom of the Customize panel, we can go and add more commands. Now, in Outlook 2010, if you have been searching for that very useful command in previous versions, you can actually see in the commands, choose commands from button, we have commands that are not in the ribbon. And if you have a bit of time on your hands, go and tutor through the all commands. Now, you can go in, I'm going to just go back to the popular commands, and say, for example, I update folders often. I can select the little command that I need, and I can add it to my quick access toolbar. If you notice from the actual toolbar area itself, we can actually go and move around these commands. And I'll show you why when we get to the little keyboard area, we can actually, with the new keyboard functionality, we can make our lives really fast and productive. All right. So that was the little quick access toolbar. On our ribbon, we have our little tabs. Now these tabs, the words have been finalized. The majority of people will not have their developer tab activated, but that we can actually do through file and options. On our home tab, the home tab on all Microsoft applications now hold the things that we use most often. And in a while, I'm actually going to come and have a look at some of these really cool little bits of functionality. All right. When we get down, notice that I have clicked on the View tab, and I will go through that area in a moment. Finally, the little work area that we have available to us is very customizable. The area down the left-hand side of the screen is the navigation bar, and you will notice that on the View tab in the Layout group, we have the ability to go and play around with it. If you don't like the favorites area, take it off. If you like the favorites area, you can actually bring it back. The reading pane, most people don't like that, so let's go and switch it off. And for today, I am just going to move it to the bottom of my screen. All right. The to-do bar was introduced in Office 2007 and is actually quite welcome. It's a nice summary of what we actually need to do every single day. But once again, you can actually go and choose what you want to do with it. Now, just for real estate just for real estate, I'm going to just minimize it on the side there, and you can actually notice that it tells me a whole lot of things that are going on. Alrighty. Now, the thing is that Microsoft don't give us every single tab that we actually need all the time. As we start doing certain things, our contextual tabs will actually start appearing. For example, I need to find an email about a proposal. Now you will notice that I've got nothing along that toolbar considering search, but when I click into the little search box, you will notice that a search tab then appears. The new search functionality in Microsoft Outlook is really, really neat. It is live, so as I start typing, it starts bringing up all of those searches. At any stage through that typing, I can actually go in and refine my search. So I can actually go in and say, well, hold on, I remember that there was an attachment to this one. And you can actually see all of those commands there, and there are even more criteria. Now, at any stage, you can also increase your scope where Outlook is actually searching for this, and we can actually go and click on all items there. Alrighty. Now, when I select one of my emails, you will notice that this one does have the email attachment. But when I click on the attachment itself, a single click, not to open it, I get the little preview. All right. And on my contextual tabs now, I have both a search tool and all of those attachments then actually set up. So I can quickly go and print it, I can go and save it, I can remove it. All right. So remember to select or click into what you want to work with, and that can actually really add functionality that you may find useful. One of the areas that a lot of people don't use is the little area at the bottom of the screen. Now, if I go back into my actual message and I go down a little bit, you will notice that we now have the quick way to zoom in or out of our actual emails. We can step between a normal view and a reading view to make our lives easier, and then we can further customize that little area there. Alrighty. That was the new little interface. The little panel down the left-hand, the other left-hand side, which most people refer to as the right-hand side, is a little OneNote notebook. And as you can see, it's just there to keep me on track, or else I wander off and go and have a look at everything else. All right. The one little area that I want to quickly have a look at is the File tab. When you click on the File tab, maybe click on it twice sometimes, you will notice that this area is, well, the good old file menu, but it is now technically, we should actually call it the backstage. The nice thing with Outlook 2010 is a lot of the functionality has been improved, and it does make our lives a little bit easier. For example, with Out of Office, if you're using Exchange Server 2007 or 2010, you can go and set up your Out of Office replies ahead of time. But you can go and create a different message for the people that work within your organization. That can be the I'm away fishing, and then the really formal one where I'm away from the office until whatever, please contact someone else. All right. You've got your cleanup tools already. And then one of the areas that we need to spend a bit of time with when you're back in the office are our options. There are enough options here. You can actually see on my general tab, I can go choose a whole lot. Mail, this is where we go and set up signatures. The signature screen has been made a little bit easier, and we can quickly go and set up a new email. And then when you click in the actual little body, you have got quite a bit of formatting capabilities there. I can't even spell my surname. Alrighty. And then if I had a logo, I could insert that quickly too. Alright, whoops. The thing that I usually forget to show people is don't forget to actually choose how you actually want to actually send that out. Alrighty, excellent. Now, if there are any questions, please post them, and hopefully either Hayden or anybody else will pop them up and tell me what I can actually go and do. Alrighty. Now, before we go on to some basic tips, actually no, wait, we will go and do some basic tips now. Please start using all of your little areas. What we actually want to look at is that once we've got an email from somebody, if it needs to be a calendar or a meeting or a contact, or we want to convert it to a task, it is not about retyping it. One of my favorite ways of converting emails is to drag them to the actual thing that I want to change it into. Now, that Tailspin Toys is a proposal that I actually need to work on, and why that didn't work. There we go. So it's now gone into my actual proposal. I need to get to this tomorrow, and it is due on Friday. Okay, so go in, and this will also work for contacts. So with people, you can actually see there it starts completing that email for me. Take the click and drag to the next level. So if in their signature, if they actually had the company name, drag that to the actual company name, and with the click and drag you can save yourself a whole lot of problems or issues, or while just retyping basically. Okay, now in your calendar, I really like what Microsoft have done with the actual calendar view. You will notice that we have our work week, we have our week itself, we have our month, and then we have this little schedule view. Now the schedule view works really nicely with the new grouping. Okay, this actually is not new. This used to be available in the other office, but it wasn't an obvious panel. So I'm going to quickly go and create a new calendar group for the team. All right. Now, you will notice that I have some really interesting email addresses. Just go with the flow. So CPO and Chewy and, whoops, let's try that again. Hold down the control key, and I can actually go and add any of those selected people as a team. Now I've got their little group schedule. You will see that in this group I can actually then go in, and if they were using their calendar, I could go and choose a time, and if I click at the top of the calendar, notice that I've selected all of those people, and I can go in and create a new meeting with those selected people, and Outlook does the rest. I can then send that off to them. Okay, whoops, and then we'll do that. Alrighty. The nice thing though is that in your work week calendar, that looks a bit nightmarish, but what you can actually do is that you've got this overlay functionality to actually go in and create almost a tabbed view of your entire team. Alright, so as you can actually then go and see all of the settings that they've actually got. Alrighty. Now, on your contacts really haven't changed that much. We no longer have the word distribution list. It is now called a new contact group, but it works exactly the same. Alright, tasks. Wow, I better get to some work. Alrighty, and that is that there. Now, on my home tab, if you are doing things repetitively, please consider creating a quick step. So notice that I'm on my home tab in my mail view, and I can actually go and forward or create a new email or move. You can actually see as you hover on them, you can actually go in and start creating these actual emails. Alright, so I'm going to create a little team email. Alright, I can create a new one. I can edit the existing one, and I can say, well, hold on. So we want to create a new anything you want to. I then go and set up who my team is. Alright, and hopefully you have got groups set up. I'm just selecting, we'll pretend that those are my team, and I can add in new actions. I can add in options. So please complete weekly report. All right. By Friday. And now when I click on the actual quick step, all of that gets done for me, and I can actually just click on send or add a bit of information. Oh, I can't spell. Okay, so those quick steps are really useful. Go and have a tutor there. The actual, also the custom one is maybe perhaps one of the best ones to actually play around with, because there is a lot of stuff that you can actually go and do. Okay. All right. Notice that in my email box on the status bar, I have got 107 items. Yeah. Now, we can go and archive. We can let, and you can actually see I've got the little question down here. Do you want Outlook to run it, or do you want to set it up yourself? Now, the previous, the iStart lunch was all about being productive in email. And I'm still firmly of the belief that you should just be keeping your email box clean and deleting as much stuff as possible. But what we can actually go and do is, if you don't want to let our Outlook run it, which you can, and let's quickly go and have a look at that first, is that on your File tab in your info box, under your cleanup tools, you can actually go and set up where your archive needs to go to. Right? And then you can actually go and set up, go and check this little path. As you can see, that this one hides it in the absolute bowels of Windows 7. So don't be shy to actually go in and change that path to somewhere that is a little bit more useful. However, I like setting up my own little Outlook data file. And I'm going to go and add one, and I'm going to call this one My Archive. And I'm going to save it in My Documents, and I can maybe create a new little folder to keep. Whoops. And we'll save it in there, and I'm going to say OK. Now you will notice that in my navigation list, I now have my little archive. And what I can actually go and do is I can quickly go and drag the emails that I need to keep. Come on. Okay. Outlook seems to be having a bit of a... Hello? Hold on, I'm going to need to close down Outlook quickly. All my emails seem to have disappeared. All right, and we'll just bring it up again.
Okay, Michael, just maybe while we're doing that, what we did was in bouncing ideas around for this was have a think about how often people are getting training on this sort of stuff. There's so much functionality in these applications that often people don't get given any guidance or direction on using it. So what we just want to do is just check up a little poll here and find out just when you did receive any training, and I guess it's focused around the Microsoft Office suite and particularly Outlook. So I'll just pop up a poll and people can just answer that, and we'll get a little bit of insight as to how often the audience is getting trained. Hopefully this will pop up.
Okay.
Just answer away in your leisure, attendees.
Great. Okay. Sorry, now that I'm back and realized what I did is by looking at those actual archive settings, I went and accidentally archived all my emails. All right, so not the type of thing to actually do when you have a look at all of that. Alrighty, now before we go on, I've got some questions. Can manage email rules and alerts be added to the quick access toolbar? Now let's go and see. You can actually see that your rules and alerts are on the actual item there. Now the other way is if you don't want to really look through all the more commands because you need to know the proper Microsoft term, try right-clicking on the actual item that you want to add. And you'll see at the top of that right-click shortcut, we can quickly go and add that there. And now it's actually on the actual item. Now let's see if we've got a chat. So you see this one here is the so rules and alerts. If that's not what you want, then yes, through your commands, you can actually go and find, oh wait, let's go into all, because this is the way. I'm clicking on the R, and let's try and find our rules and alerts. There we go. So yeah, so it is that right click way there, and then on that little drop down, you can manage your rules and alerts, and you're in the same place. Okay, so try the right click first when you've gone and find it on the actual item if you've found it once on any of these toolbars. If not, click on the little drop down, go into the more commands box, and my point of call is go straight to the all commands. The only problem that I do have is that you do need to know the proper Microsoft term for it. All right. Now, how do you use task lists to actually prioritize work? We'll get back to that one. Is quick steps instead of having a user template? Now we've actually got an option here. You can use quick steps to automate things that you go and do. Once we've got through the quick part of the presentation, which I'll go and do in a moment, you have that as an alternative. But we can actually still go and use Outlook OTFs, Outlook file templates for the longer type emails. And that's actually quite a horrible question. Which one is better then? Would be up to the actual user. Alrighty, so that's just some of the questions. I have a couple other here, a couple more, and we will see if we have time to get to those. Alrighty, now let's see. Now, by default, just make I have shown you search, I have shown you quick. Yes, I'm just quickly going through. Alrighty. Don't forget
Michael, I'll jump in, Michael, and I'll just
Windows.
I'll share those poll results. I think I can just throw up a little chart. Quite interesting.
Yes.
So 71% of attendees voted, and 36% can't remember when they received training, which probably means that they might have been part of the 27% that have never received training. 6% within the last month, 12% less than 6 months ago.
Wow.
22% less than 2 years ago. So actually, not too bad. 40% have had reasonably recent training. Okay, back into it.
Wow. Wow. Okay, great stuff. Okay, excellent. Now, by default, what I'm going to do is on my View tab, I'm going to just for a moment switch off my reading pane. Okay. And as you can see here, is that your default view has always been in the chronological order. Okay. Introduced in Office 2010 is the ability now to actually go and view your emails in a thread-like, in a conversation view. Now notice that on my View tab, in my conversation view, I have actually got Show as Conversation. All right, I can choose which folders, and I'm just for sake of expediency, I have going to go and click on this folder. And notice that I still have 107 emails, but, well, it looks a little bit easier. As I click on the little conversation flyout, all the actual conversations then actually come up. Okay, so it is far, far easier to actually then keep up to date, see what is happening, etc. Now you can actually notice that this last conversation has been going on for a while. Okay, and if your company is keeping tight tabs on the amount of space that you've actually got, or if you just like keeping a tidy inbox, on your Home tab, what you can actually go and do with that conversation view is clean up your conversation. And then what Outlook will actually do is it'll go in and check all the emails. There are a whole lot of settings. Whoops, we won't worry about that. It will go in and take all the ones that have duplicated information and delete them. Alrighty. And you'll actually see that conversation there went and saved me quite a bit of space. I have not lost any information because typically with these emails that we to and fro, the latest one holds all the previous information. But Outlook has actually gone and used all of that. Right here. Now, so the conversation view on your view tab is something that can be gone and used, and you have a whole lot of interesting little bits of settings that you can also go and play around with. Now, when we start creating new emails, we can start using a word-like capability when we start formatting. On my Format Text tab, I can actually go in and I can go in and click on my little dialog box launcher, and like in Word, I have the ability to format or have all my styles up and running to format my email. Oh. Okay. More often than not, though, we have ways and means of, or we have things in our emails that we are repetitively using. Now, under the Insert tab, like in Word, finally we have these quick parts. Now, well, Hans has obviously gone and inquired about our Excel training, and we would like to quickly just showing our route that people can actually go and take in the actual Excel route. And then I'm going to quickly show you how to create your own little email or your own little quick parts, because this is perhaps one of the better time-saving features that we've actually got. All right. So start using styles. You can create your own styles, and I am going to just minimize that. In my drafts folder, I have got a little confirmation. Yep. Now, instead of coming into this drafts folder and trying to save it, etc., I'm going to go and convert this into a quick part that I can quickly use it. All right. Now, the nice thing about quick part is that it can be formatted, so I can make text bold. I can go in. Well, that's not a really good color. I can go in and notice the live preview that we now also have. I'm going to make this an orange because I can. We can go and insert the date. All right. And once you've got this fully formatted and set up, you can then select what you want in your quick part. On the Insert menu, in the text group under Quick Parts, you then save that selection to the Quick Part gallery. All right. Give it a good name. All right. And then click on OK. Now, I've got a feeling I need to close this one. Let's just go and see if it's there. Nope, we will need to close this one. All right, and then just open it up again, that it picks it up. Come on. And then on my Insert tab, now for any other email, if I need to quickly go in and confirm an email, I can just insert it. Now, if you remember the name, you can just start typing, and you'll see that the minute that you get to a point that it actually recognizes that it is a quick part, it tells you what to do. So we can actually start using, we don't have to use the mouse to insert it, etc. Right, so quick parts, styles, and with the new formatting capabilities, we can in Outlook start creating fully fledged emails. By the way, this little bit of text that I inserted here, or this little drawing, takes the amount of time that it actually takes to type up email, and that is actually a thing called Smart Art. All right. A quick way to illustrate or visually communicate information. You will also notice now, if you've used Outlook or Word or Excel, that when you insert a chart, you actually are going into Excel. Watch, it's going to go a bit nuts now for a while. And here on the side, I can quickly go in and set up an email. Excel, Word, PowerPoint, oh. And I can delete and quickly go and update my little tab. Now, even in this email, notice that we also have contextual tabs. So when I select the chart, I then end up being able to quickly summarize that information. Right? And I'm going to just send this off to Han. Okay. And there we go. So quick parts, and when you create new emails, being able to use your actual styles when you're formatting text, being able to insert just about anything. Actually pretend you're in Word when you create your new emails, and it's exactly like that. All right. I'm hoping, okay, so we have actually looked at that, we've looked at that, we've looked at that. All right, now, I am in my mailbox. When it comes to keyboard shortcuts, well, there's 7 that you need to remember. The first 6 all involve the control key. Now, I'm holding down the control key on my keyboard, and I'm pressing 1, and that will take you through to email. If I press 2, it takes me through to my calendar, and I can quickly go in and actually work here. Control and 3 takes me through to tasks. Control and 4 takes me to tasks. Control and 3 takes me through to my contacts. 6 is one of my favorites because it actually takes me through to my folder list. And then you break things like that quietly. Be careful. So you've actually got all your folders and lists, and I can actually just drag this out a little bit, that I don't have to scroll backwards and forwards. Now, the best keyboard shortcut in the whole of Office is the Alt key on your keyboard. Press it once, and you will notice that a whole lot of numbers and letters of the alphabet then pop up. Now, if you remember from earlier, when I changed the order of my quick access toolbar, it was just to make my life easier. So if I need to print something, I can now just press the key, the number 5, and it'll take me straight through to actually printing. Now, the thing that I like, I'm actually going to go and do that again, just by the way, so that I'm in Mail, and I'm in my inbox, and we will select a decent email this time. If I say Alt and the 5 key, you will notice that finally that Print and Print Preview are in the same area. That is perhaps one of the best bits of consistency that Microsoft have done in Office 2010, and this is for the whole of Office, so it's actually pretty cool. You'll notice below the little Print Preview box, I can then go and navigate to the pages. I can go in and zoom out, and zoom in and zoom out. So let's have a look at that again. I press the Alt key once, and if I need to go in and view something, I would press the V key, and you will notice that some of these now give me a double key. You don't have to type them too quickly, but say, for example, I wanted to bring back my reading pane, I would select P and N. And then, where would I like it? Oh, I wanted it at the bottom. And I'm just hitting the actual relevant keys. Alrighty. So as you select the actual keys on your keyboard, and you only need to press the Alt key once, right at the beginning, you can then navigate into your structure, or into the actual folders. So I'm pressing Alt again. I'm pressing O to go into the Folder tab. Oh wait, I actually wanted to be on the View tab. To go back up a level, hit the escape key once, and you will notice that that takes you back up. All right, I can then go on to view. I can then go on to, I'm going to just do the PN again. Now, if I've made a couple of mistakes and I want to go back up, I just hit the escape key, and after I've hit it 3 times, I then have got a clean keyboard. Alrighty. So in summing up, let's just quickly go through that one. I've actually got all of those. I like the little keyboard shortcut. I like my control keys. Try and get used to keyboard shortcuts. Depending on which view you're in, another keyboard shortcut that I actually do remember is that once I've clicked on a view, so if I'm in mail and I hold down the control key and I press N for new, it'll create a new email. When I'm in the calendar view, Control and N creates a new appointment. So that is actually kind of a useful one to remember. Alrighty. Now, just going through this, we have actually been, yes, okay. I have completed my little presentation. I hope that has helped make life a little bit easier. Hayden, any questions from you? Things that you'd like to know?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Michael. There's been a whole bunch of questions, and maybe
Wow.
just we'll tick through a few. Just kind of, I guess, trying to do it in the order that you presented things. There was one came in early on, and just around managing rules and alerts, and maybe just a good opportunity to go back through looking at that ribbon and getting rules and alerts up into the ribbon, or maybe it's the quick launch part of it. Just go through that again if you can, Michael.
All right. Now, the easiest way, there are 2 ways to actually add anything to the quick access toolbar. When you found it, all right, so on my view tab, if I'm quite often needing the reminders window, the first time that you find a bit of functionality, go and right click on it and add it to the quick access toolbar. So on my home tab, under my move, I've actually got my rules there. And if I right click on that, you can actually see, okay, the reason that that's grayed out is because I already have it there. Now, if you haven't found it on your ribbon anywhere, the next step that you can actually go through is on the quick access toolbar, is click on the little customize drop down. And at the bottom of that, click on more commands. And this is where the fun starts, because you now need to find it. Where we can choose commands, you can actually see here we can choose from our popular commands, commands that are not in the ribbon anymore. And the place that I usually start is on all the commands. And you can actually see that, yeah, there are enough to actually keep you out of mischief. So once you've found it, you can then actually go in and add it to your quick access toolbar. So,
okay. All right, excellent.
Now, yep, just another quick thing, don't forget to change the order. So if you are regularly forwarding emails, make that number 1, because then with your Alt key, remember the Alt key shortcut, that then becomes your number 1 button in the top corner of the screen. All right. Does that answer that question?
Yep. I think that's I know that's something that I've spent a bit of time setting up, and it saves a whole bunch of time for those little quick things you use all the time. Now, here's another one I find annoying is receiving attachments. And you didn't really cover this off, but say a docx comes in, and you just want to edit that directly rather than it being in read-only mode. Is there any way to get out of that?
So right there, why is that one not got an email? Come on. Okay, that one should have an attachment, but anyway, there's my proposal. All my proposals are gone. Unless in Word or Excel, in the actual setting, there's no actual quick way. So yeah, we've got one. So if I double click on it, it opens it up and it pops it up in this protected view. The actual top view there, is that what you're talking about, Hayden?
Yeah, that's
So
the one. Well, no, it's more
there's no
in
quick
Word.
way other. Now let's go and see. Hold on. Hopefully, someone has stolen my. Now those are images. There we go. There's the document there. So we've got the protected view. This editing. There is no quick way. That is actually Microsoft just being quite protective of itself. In the actual application that you want, so in Word, for example, under Files and Options, in your Trust Center, if you go into your Trust Center settings, you can actually go in and play around with the actual message bar there, or you can actually go in and play around with the protected view. And it really depends on what's actually in that actual message that is activating that. But the short answer for that is that there's really no quick way to get rid of that. It's just one of those little points of pain that we're going to have to play around with.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. I'm sure Kevin will have a play in there with some of those settings and see what he can get away with. Another question from Raywin. What determines a conversation? What actually categorizes the conversation thread?
Okay, the main thing that would drive a conversation is the subject line. So, it's the actual subject line that would be the first and foremost. And one or other two smaller settings, but it's mainly driven, the conversation is driven by the actual subject line. So as long as that subject line then stays the same, all your conversations will be included in that conversation view. Okay,
all good. A couple of questions around tasks. One was using the task pane and looking around work priority was something we covered in the first lunchbox. Around using that task pane to really run the prioritization of tasks rather than just listing, working through prioritization.
Alrighty. Now, depending on the little task pane itself, so when it comes to prioritization of tasks and working with everything, now notice that I'm back in my calendar view, and I'm going to just quickly untick the actual team. Let's just take them off individually there. All right, so that I can actually see my actual task pane. Now, this is actually a pretty good view to start prioritizing your life in. If you're using categories, if you are using little categories to summarize little tasks, so if I've actually set those up, we can go in, and this little task pane is an actual view. So what you can go and do, notice that I'm right-clicking on the Arrange By. So if I had categories that were for my priority, I could actually go in and set them up there. Now the other thing to play around with is actually going in and creating your own little view. Now you will notice that I jump into my little advanced view settings, right? And one of the things that I typically go and do is I will go and create a little filter. And what I actually want to do is that I only want to see tasks that are, frequently used fields, so where percentage complete is less than 100%. So I only want to see those that are not complete. Okay, so as I mark my task complete, they then seem to disappear from this little task view. I will still find them in the task list. All right, so go in, and when it comes to the prioritization of tasks, go in and create a little setting. Go in and sort the actual columns, maybe group by, if you're using categories, go and group by those actual categories. You can actually see it's the default there, so that you can actually then have a whole lot of settings. Now what I'm going to do, just to demonstrate that, I'm going to go in and click on my all categories, and I'm going to rename that blue category to, I'm going to just use a quick priority, make that a priority 1, make the green ones a priority 2, and we'll just set up with a 3 priority little one. Yeah. Okay. Now, as I start prioritizing my tasks, I can just click on them. So, and you will then notice, hold on, did I prioritize them? Yes. I just need to check. So I'm going to just prioritize a couple of these randomly, of course. We'll do it slightly better. And then if I go back into my view settings, I'm rather going to group by due date and then by category. Okay. And now I can actually then quickly go and see that as the day comes along, that as I start using my tasks, they'll be in the priority that I need in the actual date order. So that little task pane is actually quite customizable. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. There's yeah, lots of functionality in there. Another one just around tasks from Barbara, and she's obviously picked up you're using OneNote, and I know you're a fan.
Yes.
Based on your experience, you feel one versus the other, which one wins?
In terms of?
Around, I guess, managing small projects and getting into that task management and keeping on top of things. Are you finding you're using OneNote to do that, or Tasks and Outlook?
I use them complementary. Most people still like Outlook, so I have a tendency to start there. But when keeping information, when needing to do things, I'm then starting to drive things now into OneNote itself. You will notice that on my task list tab, I do have a little OneNote, little button. OneNote is actually pretty pervasive in the whole of Office. If I go into the internet, if you right-click on an actual web page, you can actually send it to OneNote. So I use OneNote, as you can see here, OneNote and Outlook are next to each other. Kind of use them interchangeably, complementary to one another. All right. I wouldn't. We would be asking to pick who the favorite kid is, I guess. So no, like them both. All right.
Okay, changing tech a little bit. There's obviously some users that aren't on 2010, and a couple of questions around one, compatibility, things like using Smart Art and the nice tools with 2010. Do you need to be conscious of others not being able to see that or use that? And another is the big motivators of upgrading and going up to 2010. Based on your experience, have you found it a positive and really beneficial process? So a couple of separate questions, Michael.
Yeah, Outlook 2007 didn't get the full ribbon treatment like the rest of the Office products did. So 2010 is now completely consistent. So I find Outlook 2010 far easier to use because of that consistency. If you create an email in 2010, sending it to someone using Outlook or Exchange Server 2007 is not going to be a biggie. There's going to be no impact there. I actually haven't experienced much issues with the 2007-2010 interchangeability in Outlook. There may be issues between 2007/10 and 2003. So certain of the things may not work there. But in Outlook 2007, once you've created the new email, in the new emails we actually had the ribbon. So it's that, and from that sense, from that point, 2007 and 2010 are very, very alike. Is that okay? Does that answer?
Yeah. I'm on 2007, and I guess it's always a matter of getting familiar. 2007 is certainly on its way, but I see some new things in 2010 that look interesting. Look, I think that's probably covered off the main questions. I know there was a lot of others there, but just trying to pick out the themes of questions. We have answered some within the webinar, and others we can come back to if there's specific things that Michael can come back on. He'll take a look at the questions you've raised and come back directly one-on-one. But otherwise, we'll wrap up. I'll just drop the presenter back to me just to get the wrap-up screens up. That clicks across, show my screen. So over to you, Michael. Okay, so we've been through Q&A. So yeah, as I said in opening, there is an exit survey. I should say thank you very much, Michael. Great presentation, lots in there.
Thank you, guys. Wow.
And yeah, go back to the recording. We will send that out. I think most people will need some time to just digest and have a play with some of these things, and also look at what they're running themselves, because a lot of the things that are shown, while it's 2010, 2007 is either the same or very similar. 2003 quite different, but the same things are maybe in a different place. So have a look and dig around. Exit survey. So as you come out of the webinar, you'll be prompted with questions. You can confirm your address there so we get the card sent to the right place. If you've already got a card, give us your number and we can top it up remotely. There is also a free trial offer in there for the GoToMeeting and GoToWebinar and GoToAssist. So we've been using GoToWebinar today, but Citrix have a number of other products in that stack, be it remote support or one-on-one online meetings. Good products there, so you can have a free play and see for yourselves. And also let us know what's useful out of today's session and things that you'd like to see in future lunch boxes. We'll have another one in November. Also, just covering off a message from our friends at Citrix with their products there, some contact details, websites, and there is an offer at the moment for attendees. If you go in off the back of this and let them know that you attended this webinar, there's a couple of months free if you go on to then subscribe to one of the products. Just the GoToMeeting product there, HD Faces, is just launched, so that provides the video conferencing from your desktop. And I have seen that with a HD camera that is really ups the quality and provides you with some great tools. So have a play with that, get a camera hooked up, and see how that goes for you. That's pretty much it. Thank you very much for attending. Special thanks to Ace Training again for the sponsorship of the lunch. We'll get those the mail to you. You just need to activate them, go into the store. You can buy anything with that $10. And if you've got a smartphone, download the Subway application. That's brilliant. It keeps your card balance on your phone, and every time you buy something, it tops it up. Not that we're plugging Subway here, but hey, it's a good application. Thanks everyone for attending. Thanks to Citrix and to Ace Training, and thanks for coming along. We'll see you next time in November. Thanks guys.
Thank you. See ya.
Cheers, Michael.
Bye.